Series of videos you're about to see is sort of a look behind the scenes of Project Galaxy because I'll admit development's been slow, so do know this is sort of a introduction video, sort of the inspiration of what led to Project Galaxy. So I hope you guys enjoy this series, and yeah, on to the video. Hello everyone, I'm Al. I'm the head developer, lead, and basic around head honcho of Project Galaxy. What is Project Galaxy? Project Galaxy was originally this weird thing I had in my head a long time ago when I was in high school, and it's sort of this thing of wanting to combine the storytelling of character creation of D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and the real-time strategy elements of many RTS games like Command & Conquer and Red Alert, as well as the space exploration of a lot of science fiction games like Star Wars or a few other things. So basically this cabal of really cool stuff. What inspired Project Galaxy was a sad place in my life. When I was in high school, when Obama got elected, I was verbally against Obama. And because of that, I was bullied and picked on by a lot of the liberals and Obama supporters in the school. Ironically enough, not a lot of black people at my school really picked on me that much. It was more along the lines of the white people and the crackers that actually kind of picked on me. What really inspired Project Galaxy was my fascination and love of science fiction. I love science fiction, especially, and I'm not talking about the newer science fiction, I'm talking like the old science fiction of like The Day the Earth Stood Still, the original 1950s movie, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Thing, the original 50s movie, the original black and white thing, and the John Carpenter thing also. Along with a few others, including one of my favorite cheesy action flicks of all time, Starship Troopers. I love that movie to death, I really do. And because of this, when I was bullied in school, I sort of would write in my book, or doodle in my book more or less. I would sort of write in my little notebook of stories and things like that, just things that would come to mind. And what came to mind was this story of humanity being visited by aliens, sort of the original V style, where large ships would sort of hover over these cities, and that's just how it is. And because of it, humanity would sort of get this technology, what have you, but I didn't want to do the whole... The story of Project Galaxy is sort of asking the question, what if humanity was visited by extraterrestrial life outside our galaxy? What if, aliens did come down and they did visit us, but because of our human nature, they had to sort of reset our clock in terms of technology because, we're just stupid humans. We can't avoid our violent past, so we're sort of like that, in a sense. And because of that, humanity now has to sort of fight an uphill battle to get respect from the alien species and sort of, get its place in the galaxy, while also a underlining sort of storyline of all this. But granted, that's just more or less the lore of it, which I would love to, which we'll probably get into deeply in this video series. The actual present day, the setting for this is more or less humanity is now among the stars, and they're trying to sort of find a place among the stars. It's more or less a thing of, how it's going to be, humanity trying to find its place. It's sort of like how Mass Effect 1 was, where Commander Shepard was the first human Spectre, and humanity sort of finding its place in this star, in this cabal of intergalactic and interstellar politics, as well as a military game and even an espionage game, depending on how the game masters and dungeon masters sort of craft their story around this, which that's more or less how it is. So if you play as humans, you're gonna get the short stick of it all. You're gonna get the small star of it, depending on how it is. The other factions are interesting because the other factions are sort of a political stereotype in themselves. The way the factions are set up is that when they discovered Earth, it was like during the 80s, more or less. You know, the height of the Cold War was going on. There was consumerism, all that, and they started, and the recon ship that was there sort of beamed transmissions back to the rest of the galaxy, and so each individual faction kind of got a channel from them. Like one faction got the Soviet Union during the 80s, so it was like Adidas and all this other stuff and some cool stuff. One faction got Japanese television, one faction got American television, and it was just sort of, you know, each one would experience humanity's different taste. And that's just sort of how it is, more or less. And that's just really how cool it kind of is. And you're definitely going to see that within the factions, or depending on how the artwork comes out, or how the dungeon masters or the game masters kind of set up this whole entire thing. Gameplay is going to be interesting because Iteration 1, what we wanted to do is we just wanted to sort of give you guys a taste, let you dip your toe into the into what is Project Galaxy, more or less, and see how this whole world works out. Because as much as I want to spoil everything, that's just not how it is. Now, the big thing is that I would love for us to actually introduce the whole RTS element, as I said before. Real-time strategy is sort of a cool concept to me. I love real-time strategy, and I want to kind of implement it into board games or tabletop RPGs, where let's say your team, or at least your party, is somehow gotten involved into a planetary conflict where your party is in the middle of a battlefield, and you can ask the GM, you can ask the game master, the dungeon master, hey, where are we? And he can just like pull up a map, which nowadays with iPads and all that stuff and people actually doing that, I would love for us to actually incorporate a sort of map system into that, where the dungeon master can just sort of pull out a tablet, pull up a map, all that good jazz, and kind of say, okay, you're here, here's what's going on around you, and that way the players can decide where they go from there, or whether they want to get involved in the battlefield or they want to get away from the battlefield, and it'll sort of allow the player a new set of freedoms to kind of say, you can do whatever you want, just know this is where you are on a battlefield, an active battlefield. And I would love to sort of incorporate that. In terms of, like, a reputation system, I can't exactly disclose that yet, but I will give you a nice little hint that the reputation system is sort of like what I'd love to do with, like, New Vegas, where a reputation system allows you to kind of get good karma with this faction while at the same time trying to balance that karma with this faction. And if the dungeon master or the game master wants to set up to where, oh, you're in this crossroads point where you have to decide between these two factions that you've gotten really good karma with, to try and either betray one of them or try and negotiate peace between the two factions. Again, I don't want to disclose too much, but think of it kind of like New Vegas, except more expanded on in the karma system and reputation system. Traveling in weapons is sort of a little bit of a nitpick. The weapons are going to be ballistic based because I want to save energy based and other stuff for later on down the line, but in terms of what is going on as space travel, it's more or less down the lines of, we can either do it like depending on how the game master wants to do it, they can either do it via D20, and depending on their class, they can go from here to here, no problem, or depending on the roll of the D20, they could roll a D15, and it'd be like, okay, you're going pretty well until you hit this one point where your engine starts messing up and you got to go repair it, or someone's got to go repair it, and then they got to roll another D20, and then they got to repair it. Again, it all depends on how things go, more or less. Character creation is going to be interesting because of the different races and all that. With humanity, you're sort of starting at a point, just a clean slate, more or less. Humanity is sort of, again, you're going to get the short stick if you choose humanity. Other races are going to be interesting, but we'll probably get into that a little more, depending on if these videos actually do go off very well. But more or less, you choose a race and you're going to have a sort of racial feature, sort of a leg up over the other species. Like, say you choose one race, they have of proficiency with martial arts, or you choose another race, and they're basically the tanks. They can take a lot of damage and they can wheel a lot of damage, but they are slow as hell and they are not the smartest damn people in the world. Or you could choose one race which is really fast, really stealthy, sort of the assassins of the galaxy. Or again, you can go with humanity and sort of have nothing, or you can go with a new race which are hybrids, where you can, be human and sort of have this other racial features of that one species that your mama or daddy was, and it be sort of like that. It's sort of a mix, and it's sort of a cabal of what you can do with that species of the hybrids. The current development cycle right now, it's more or less we've come to a slow pace. We're still trying to find our place in this whole thing. We're a small three-man team, more or less. We're not a big development team. We're not like Wizard of the West Coast. We're not Warhammer 40K. We're not these big developers. We're just a bunch of independent developers who are trying to do this whole thing and just sort of, come into how it is, more or less. Thank you guys for watching this Developer's Diary. I hope you guys like this series, and I hope it kind of gave you a new kind of look into Project Galaxy. And if you have any more questions and you want us to continue this series, let me know in the comments section down below. Or if you got questions about this series, I'll probably do a Developers AMA or a Q&A to sort of answer those questions. Anyway, thank you all for watching. As always, I've been Al, and I will see you guys in the next Developer's Diary. Until next time.